Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing the Unpopular Opinions Book Tag. The first one is a popular book or series that you didn't like, and from a previous video you may have already guessed what mine is going to be, but it is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I did not like Ready Player One. I couldn't stand any of the characters. I feel like if you removed the pop culture references and the movie references, you wouldn't really have much content left. And I don't know how to pronounce this, but is it Machina? At the end, when all hope is lost, a mystical figure appears to be the saviour. No. And that is why I don't like Ready Player One. That is why I won't be reading any more of Ernest Cline's books, and I'm not going to rant about it anymore, because I spend my life ranting and complaining. In fact, that is probably why I created this channel. That, and because I like to, be a dick. Anyway, the next. A popular book or series on everyone else seems to hate but you love. And for this I have The Forest of Hands and Teeth by Carrie Ryan, and this is for the entire series. I only read the series once, so I read this book back in 2009, and then I believe they followed with The Dead Tossed Waves and The Dark and Hollow Places, and these are companion novels. So the first one follows Mary, and then the next one follows someone else, and then the next one follows someone, and they're all related to each other, and they each follow a different portion of someone's life relating to how they deal with the unconsecrated. They're zombie books. I first found out about them in an edition of Writing magazine. Goodreads tells me that a lot of people didn't like the books, but I can remember reading the first book everywhere. I took it to school, I read it in the breaks between classes, and it was my first foray into dystopian fiction and zombie fiction. Of Hands and Teeth books are set in the future after the unconsecrated. I think from what I remember, it's more like a disease or something that's passed on. I can't really properly remember the books, but I know that I enjoyed them. Goodreads didn't enjoy them. Our next question. Back to the phone. A love triangle where the main character ended up with a person you did not want them to end up with. Warn people for spoilers, there will probably be spoilers. Or an OTP that you don't like. And honestly, I don't like the pairing of Simon and Clary in the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. I know it's not a big thing, it's not the main relationship, it's not in this book, it's in City of Ashes, but I thought I'd just show the first book, City of Bones, and I just feel like Simon's meant to be Clary's best friend, and it just felt weird for me to read about this relationship. I felt like they were more brother and sister. Simon did feel like Clary's brother more than her potential love interest, and I couldn't cope with the idea of them being together, and there was some weird stuff that went, no. A popular book genre that you hardly reach for, and science fiction. Although I read most genres, however you want to say it, science fiction isn't something I automatically reach for. There's a sci-fi book that people recommend, I'll read it, but it's not a section I go to look for books that I'm going to like. There you go, science fiction. A popular or beloved character that you do not like. Severus Snape. You fancy Harry's mum. Must suck that you got her killed. Not brave. Purely selfish. I can't stand the man. Some people look for all of his redeeming features. I reread these books every year. I used to reread them twice a year. In fact, when I first got Harry Potter, I read that, I'd finish reading it, and I'd read it again. And when I was a child, that was how I used to read books. I'd find one I liked, and I'd just keep reading it. And every time I read Harry Potter, every single time, I don't like Snape. I don't feel sorry for him. I do feel angry. And I think a friend of mine can always tell when I'm reading Harry Potter, because she'll always get a message about how Harry named his children. And one of them, he gets named after Snape. And you know, that it annoys me. It frustrates me. In fact, it really aggravates me. But yeah, I hate him. I hate the man. Not as much as Umbridge, but he's a close second. A popular author that you can't seem to get into, and for me that's Haruki Murakami. See, mine still has my buy one get one half price sticker on it because I've owned this book. I remembered I bought Blind Willow Sleeping Woman in 2011 for my second year of uni, and I never read the short stories in there. Again, I lied. I read one short story from Blind Willow Sleeping Woman, then I went and bought Cathcart on the Shore, and then I went and I saw Norwegian Wood at the charity shop, and I keep trying to read the books, but now I've given Blind Willow Sleeping Woman away and I've given Norwegian Wood away. I kept Cathcart on the Shore simply because it seems the most eccentric. Murakami doesn't write realism. I don't go for realism. He should be one of my favourite writers. I can tell that. But I can't get into his writing, and I have no idea why, and I am not sorry about that. The next question. A popular book trope that you're tired of seeing. And I thought a lot about this question. A lot of thinking went into this before I realised that I cannot stand memory loss in storylines. In terms of series, it's usually used in later books where the main character forgets everything they have learned over the past few books, has to relearn everything, and you get this empty narrative, which is basically, it's just this book that doesn't do anything. It's just there to like kind of just fill up some pages until you can get to the next book. It's a bridge, and I don't like it. In terms of just books, it was on The Girl on the Train, where it was only used because if that main character hadn't drunkenly forgot everything, then there would be no story at all. It would be a short story, if anything. And I still haven't read Midnight Over Sanctifrax from the Edge Chronicles. I read Beyond the Deep Woods, Storm Chaser, saw that it was going, and this is when I was a child, saw that it was going to have a memory loss storyline, and I didn't read it. I skipped over that, read the next few books, and I will never read that book. And if I see that any storyline on television, episodes of shows I enjoy, has a memory loss storyline, I just won't watch it because I can't stand that trope. I can't stand it. A popular series that you have no interest in reading. I am not interested in continuing the Shatter Me series by Tahira Moffi. Fun fact, I was going to buy that book when it first came out, when it had the cover with the girl in the white dress, and even though it looked like every single YA book at the time, and then they re-released them with the new covers, which is just the eye. I would be showing them to you, but I've given all of my copies away. I bought them off Amazon last year thinking I was going to really enjoy the series, and I read the first book and I hated it. Maffi pretends to be lyrical, but really she just overuses metaphors. The storyline is a storyline that we've seen before. You know, it's just like every superhero storyline ever. It's every story in YA about a young woman that doesn't really fit in. Oh my lord, did that protagonist make me angry. Julia, I just could not stand her. I could not stand her character. I didn't like any of the characters at all. That story doesn't start until right at the end. Like, it's like climax, okay, here's the actual story. The whole thing is leading up to a story that doesn't happen. I would prefer Shatter Me to have been condensed into one book, and I feel like it might have been a better story for it. I think that the author needed a better editor, and that is why I will not be reading that series. The saying goes, the book is always better than the movie, but what movie or TV show adaptation do you prefer more than the book? Now, I don't actually know whether anyone will know this TV series, but if you're a fan of cosy crime, like I am, then maybe you will have heard of it, and it's Hamish Macbeth. I watched the series, and it's with Robert Carlyle from the 90s, and I really enjoyed it. I watched it every single day that it was on. It was on ITV3. It's basically a cosy Scottish drama, and I found out it was a book. Read the first book. I didn't like it. And then I found out that the writer hated the TV adaptation, and I could only think that she hated it because it actually gave her book a plot. That's all my questions. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, that is all.